racing. So yeah, great to be here, Liam. Excited for this one because we have had a belting season so far.
Yeah, we had 4 different winners from the first 4 races, and well, the last couple of rounds has been dominated by the sort of certain 5 riders: Lucas Brown, Emmanuel Brenton, Ryan Frost, Julian Correa and Filip Surowiak. But you've also got to factor in the other riders just outside of that: Ronnie Harris, Harlan McCabe and Mason Foster, who is a rookie in the class and took a podium back in Navarra. But as you mentioned there, Elliot, quite rightly, these RNG British Talent Cup riders are on the way to MotoGP on the ladder too, and we've seen even the likes of many past riders, past champions of course, have moved on to up into other things, including Evan Belford, last year's champion on the road to MotoGP, Junior GP and Red Bull Rookies.
Yeah, Belford having a really good season over in the Junior GP World Championship. If you've not been keeping up with that, then do so, because myself and Liam Hodgins have been commentating on that a few times this year. Liam more than myself, but it's a fantastic series to go and watch, and you can see the likes of Eddie O'Shea, who will be moving up to Moto3 of course in Indonesia later on in the season to join the MLAV racing team alongside Scott Ogden. He's racing there. Evan Belford, as we mentioned, over there too. He bagged a couple of top 10s recently. So yeah, this really is the platform for the riders to go over into Europe and demonstrate their skills over there before hopefully progressing into Grand Prix racing and potentially World Superbikes, etc. as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this, Liam, and we're coming up to the grid now. The riders have completed their sighting lap and we're getting closer to race time.
We are indeed. Now, we've just missed our pole sitter, Emmanuel Brenton. He's taken his first pole position of the season, only the second in his career in the British Talent Cup. Remember, he was a race winner here in race 2 last year, holding off championship leader at the time, Evan Belford. We just saw on screen there Ryan Frost, who sits 3rd in the British Talent Cup Championship. And Ryan Frost, he's had a couple of race wins so far this season, including last time out, race 1 in Brands Hatch. And out of the top 3 in the championship, we have seen them in person, Elliot, and Emmanuel Brenton and Lucas Brown are probably taller than us, about 6'3" and towering over as well. Ryan Frost, he's but we can say a little bit small, so which is good.
Yeah, I can confirm 6'3" is a little bit taller than me and yourself, unfortunately, and we're not blessed with height, unfortunately, in the commentary box. But yeah, these guys, good to see them going well. 2 experienced riders in the class now, Emmanuel Brenton and Lucas Brown on the front row. Ryan Frost, not so experienced, but having a really good season, is the number 24, starting in the middle of the front row. But yes, all eyes will be on Emmanuel Brenton, race winner here last year on the number 43. Seeing him, on your screens now, completing his sight and lap. He'll be round to the grid and pulling up to pole position in no time. Race 2 winner here last year, and he has the most race wins this year of anyone. That's 3 in 2024, but he isn't leading the standings. Lucas Brown has been the more consistent of the duo, but Emmanuel Brenton having a really strong season and weekend here at Silverstone.
Yeah, as you say there, quite rightly, 3 wins to the credit of Emmanuel Brenton. As you say as well, consistency hasn't quite been on top form as it has been for Lucas Brown. We'll come on to Lucas Brown in a moment, but just looking at the results so far for Emmanuel Brenton so far this year, he has only missed out on the podium on 3 occasions. 2 of them have been 4th place finishes. The first one, which came in Navarra, was a DNF.
Yeah, to finish P4 on the 2 occasions of the 3 that you're not on the podium is obviously the best you can do if you're not going to finish on the podium. And look, Lucas Brown has only, finished off the podium once, and he too, that was a P4 over in Navarra in round 1, race 2 in Spain a while back now. So he's keeping tabs with Lucas Brown as Emmanuel Brenton. That's all he can do at this stage. 22 points, a healthy margin you'd say for Brown, but obviously that can go in one race, 25 points for a race win. So we're hoping for Lucas Brown not to make a mistake like that. But yeah, Brenton will be eyeing that title this year. Missed out last year, of course, at Evan Belford, but he's responded well, Brenton, to the disappointment of last year, and he's chasing down Lucas Brown.
Yeah, Brenton coming into this weekend full of confidence after winning race 2 at Brands Hatch only a couple of weeks ago, but he also brings in confidence knowing he is a race winner around the Silverstone GP circuit as well, Elliot. So he'll be well and truly standing tall, well, taller than he usually does, and thinking he owns the place now, and that must be something that might play on the mind of our championship leader. Now on screen, Lucas Brown. I did speak to one of his team personnel yesterday. He said, do you think maybe Lucas might be losing a little bit of confidence because his lap times have slowly decreased over the sessions? And we're like, Lucas, never. If he lacks anything, confidence is not one of them.
Yeah, certainly not. A really experienced rider, Lucas Brown, and we just have to look at Brands Hatch. He was leading out the final corner in both races and then just got pipped to the post by the eventual winners in Ryan Frost in race 1 and Emmanuel Brinton in race 2. He obviously loses out a bit on the straights, does Lucas Brown, purely because of his stature, unfortunately, but he makes it up in the corners and in the braking zone, so doesn't lose out too much, and he's the championship leader for a reason. And yeah, Lucas Brown certainly not sure of confidence. He'll be wanting to move on to pastures new in 2025 as the BTC champion.
Yeah, he will indeed. We just saw Filip Surowiak there, the rider in 5th place in the championship, 4th place on the grid. He's a rider that's had a little bit of difficulty with consistency this year. Not all his own fault. He has come a cropper to some bad luck and some collisions with other riders. One of the riders we just saw on screen there, Julian Correa, they had a bit of a tangle back in Donington in race 2 that took Surowiak out of the race, but then Correa was supposed to serve a long lap penalty, but a bit like Fermin Aldeguer in Catalonia in Moto2 this year, he got to the long lap penalty loop and crashed out immediately.
Yeah, easily done, unfortunately. Obviously, the long lap penalty loop isn't used too much. It's completely off the racing line, and the riders aren't used to going that far out off the racing line, and it's a little bit dirtier. So, obviously, trying to make up time and just sort of took the front back in Donington a few weeks ago. But yeah, Correa going well again. He's had a really strong season again, hasn't he? Julian Correa, the American, 4th in the standings, 62 points off. So he's got a lot of points to make up on Brown, Brinton, and Frost just ahead of him. But he's certainly capable of doing so.
Yeah, he is indeed. So we're going to look at the grid now. So it's Emmanuel Brinton taking pole position, 2:20.126, ahead of his 2 closest championship rivals, Frost and Lucas Brown. Filip Surowiak and Julian Correa on row number 2 ahead of Harrison Mackay, who's qualified inside the top 6 in the last 2 events. Just further back we have Bowes, Foster and Clayton Edmonds. Scott McPhee, then Burrows and Payne round out row number 4 ahead of Rowan, Harris, Goodman, and then Charlie Barnes, Ben Jolliffe and Raymond Jr. on row number 6. And further back we have Peter Willis on bike number 99 ahead of Jones, Josh Bannister, then Eli Banish, Samuel Munson and Devine on row number 8. Then rounding out the back row of the grid is Harris and McCabe. So the riders make the way round on their warm-up lap ahead of this 10-lap slog around Silverstone. It will be for them. It was 11 laps last year, it's 10 laps this year, just slowly cutting off one of those 5.66 kilometres from their race distance, as we see the riders making their way around the loop section here in Silverstone.
Yeah, one of the many passing opportunities is the loop, the slowest corner on this magnificent Silverstone layout. 5.8 kilometres, 3.6 miles of just a beautiful ribbon of tarmac here at the British GP. A long lap, of course, for these little Honda 250 Moto3 machines. Well over 2 laps for these riders, but plenty of overtaking opportunities, as I mentioned, and just a fabulous racetrack, especially for these guys to come and perform in front of MotoGP, on the MotoGP stage in front of the British GP crowd. What a moment for all these guys, and yeah, hopefully for a strong and good race for everyone, and I think we're going to get it because qualifying was pretty tight.
It was indeed. We were a little bit worried in the first couple of practice sessions because we had Emmanuel Brinton leading the way by 0.8 of a second in one of them, and Lucas Brown by 1.7 seconds in the first one. Thankfully, though, when it came to qualifying, they all closed up. So yeah, you're absolutely right there, Elliot. We are hoping to see a repeat of what we saw in race number 2 last year, where we had about 6 or 7 going into the final couple of corners, all ready to win the race here in what is a glorious Saturday evening here in Silverstone. 21 degrees Celsius, 38 degrees track temperature, only 2 miles an hour wind speed, so that's a lot further down than it was yesterday. We did speak to some of the riders yesterday after qualifying. There was a strong headwind down Stowe or Hanger Straight, and what was that, 1.5 seconds some of the riders thought they were losing.
Yeah, we were speaking to some of the team members, weren't we, and over a lap, if you're not in the slipstream in qualifying yesterday, you could be losing up to 1.5 seconds, and some riders were losing around about 16 kilometres down the front straight. I'm going to note Emmanuel Brinton and Lucas Brown, they were in the bottom 8 riders in the speed traps on average speed yesterday. They didn't even reach 200 kilometres an hour, whereas Julian Correa, Ryan Frost, Harrison Mackay, who are all up there on the grid, were well into the 200 kilometre per hour mark on average speed. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one to look out for. We mentioned Lucas Brown's straight line speeds. Is it going to affect him in this race? Slipstream is going to be really key around here.
Yeah, Slipstream is king around Silverstone, and looking to become king of Silverstone once again is Emmanuel Brown to close in on Lucas Brown in the championship. Just remember, 22 points behind the man on screen now, Lucas Brown. Emmanuel Brenton also looking to become the second rider in the British Talent Cup history to take 2 wins around the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. The only other rider to do that was Johnny Garnes in 2022, and that's Surowiak. So that's a disaster there for the number 75.
Yeah, must have stalled it coming to the grid to Surowiak, so that's a nightmare for the number 75 title contender. Drama at the start. Yeah,
if you didn't have bad luck, you'd have no luck at all. But for the rest of the riders, the reds are rising, the red lights have gone out. It's a great start there from Julian Correa on row number 2. Disaster of a start for Brenton, but from the middles, Ryan Frost on the number 24. He shoots away from the line, and up the inside comes Brown on Brenton, but doesn't make a stick. However, Julian Correa, the American rider, round the outside from Florida. He's into third. Can Lucas Brown make a retaliation? Yes, he can. Deep on the brakes into turn number 3. But for now, it's Frost from Brenton, from Lucas Brown, and then Correa as he's chopping and changing a little bit further back, but scurrying off like a scalded cat. Ryan Frost, he's leading and gone on bike number 24 so far, as we see Filip Surowiak coming out of the pits. He is deep and last in this one. He is about 10 seconds already off the back of the pack.
Oh yeah, what a nightmare for Surowiak. He qualified well, of course, leading that second row on the number 75. He needs to make up points in the title chase. Half season now, only 3 rounds to go after this, and he's having to start the race from pit lane. That's pretty much race over in terms of potential points. He might get points if he gets his head down, potentially some misfortune coming up the higher end of the grid, but that's all he's got to do, try and get his head down and potentially pick up 1 or 2 points. That's the best he's got.
Yeah, we have seen it from his pace so far this weekend. Points are possible for Surowiak, but also potential change for the lead here, not quite yet. Frost still holds it from Brenton, and that's Brown now in third position ahead of Correa and Mackay. Mackay has been showing really well so far this weekend, ever since Brands Hatch actually. He did pick up a top 5 there. He's looking for his first ever podium in British Talent Cup, as we might have a change here between your top 2 in the title chase. Brown looking all over the back of Emmanuel Brenton on the number 43, but for now, as he approach the left into the hangar straight, it's Ryan Frost, who is diminutive compared to his 2 title rivals, just behind. But as we said yesterday, 16 kilometers an hour can be the difference between the headwind and obviously the slipstream. Who will get it into Stowe? I think maybe Ryan Frost might hold it around the outside, but here comes Brown deep on the brakes, and Correa goes into third. So Frost has gone from first all the way down to 4th. That's not what he wants. As we see another rider further back, runs it a little bit wide. I think that might have been Edmonds in the background, as Brown goes for the lead, but Brenton tries to hustle him out. But Brown, he's now in the lead at the end of lap number 1.
We've seen that all season long from Brown, haven't we? He's not got the straight line speed, but he certainly makes it up in the braking zone. Overtaken there down into Stowe. That's a little sneak preview of what we've got coming up in the next 9 laps. That's going to be a popular passing manoeuvre down the back straight, the hanger straight and into Stowe corner.
Oh, but setting up there was Brown as Brenton came through, and Frost is retaliating round the outside at Abbey Corner. So we've got a change for the lead, and here comes, I think that might be Mackay. So on the number 61, Mackay up the inside, he's into podium, but Frost just chops off the front wheel for now. But what a showing so far for the number 61 in 4th.
Yeah, Mackay just looking up the inside there, showing a wheel to Correa, but didn't quite make the move stick, but he has done now on the number 61. Bright yellow luminous helmet, chasing down the top 3. Just built a little bit of a gap now, bit of squabbling going on sort of in the P4 battle, as Correa returns the favour down into turn 6. Brooklands here at Silverstone and into the Luffield Stadium section. Brinton showing up the inside, but not quite this time around. Fantastic racing already here in the British Talent Cup.
Yeah, just as number 67 in the background. We did remember that number from our champion a couple of seasons ago, Casey O'Gorman. It's obviously not Casey O'Gorman, it is George Bowes, so he's on course for his best result of the season so far. Don't want to jinx it because it is only lap 2, but Frost back to the front once more into Cobb's corner. Brown slotting into second, and Brenton, he's been shuffled all the way back down to third, with Correa and Mackay just on the back of this group. However, it looks like Bowes and Edmonds might just be dropping off ever so slightly from this leading 6, or maybe not, and it was a change there, Elliot, for the lead, wasn't it?
Brown sticking it up the inside through Maggots. You don't normally see that, or don't see it too often anyway. That was a brave move from the number 29 championship leader, making his mark early in this race.
Yeah, big time from Brown. He's tucked into that fairing. He can get that whole 6 foot something beneath that fairing very well, as can Brinton. However, as Frost with the slipstream and of course the diminutive stature of Frost, he shoots his way back to the front as Mackay on the 61. He's wanting his first ever podium in British Talent Cup, and then he's one of the veterans in the class. He's not at a podium so far, so I'm sure all the neutrals out there will be willing him on his career on the 40 white bike there. He was at Formula in the Mercury's Cresswell machine. He's now part of his own squad after the unfortunate passing of John Cresswell. So the rider on the number 40 white bike, he is part of his own squad. He's a power passer. Our commentary box, and fastest lap of the race to Frost on lap number 2.
Yeah, Frost leading the race really well here. He's battling off the competition from Lucas Brown. As I talk about that, Lucas Brown hangs it around outside of turn 1 at Abbey, sticks it up the inside of Farm Curve. Another fantastic move from Brown. Brinton late on the brakes. Is that correct? Trying to go up the inside of McKay, it is, but not making it stick this time around. But Brown then, your race leader once again.
Ronnie Harris now, he's started to come to play. He's woken up. He's had a bit of a struggle this weekend, obviously coming off an injury he suffered in pre-season as Ronnie Harris on the number 66. However, he is back in 11th position. He's 5.8 seconds off this leading squabble, but if they keep squabbling like this, as we see Brinton take the lead, the back end came round almost on Brinton as the bike wobbles and shakes into Brooklyn's corner there as they go through Luffield. But these 6 or 7 riders might be squabbling, might just allow the riders a little bit further back, Elliot, to catch up.
Yeah, exactly, and this is what sort of Silverstone layout does for these little Honda NSF 250R Moto 3 machines. The slipstream really helps. You already mentioned at the start of the race, in qualifying, we spoke to some riders and teams. They were saying 1.5 seconds up to costs potentially when you're not in the slipstream. So if some riders are struggling, if some riders are quicker than others, you might not be able to see it too much, because once you're in that slipstream, it really does help you propel out the corners, propel into corners, especially down the straights. There's a lot of this lap where these riders are pretty much full pelt. There's not too much hard braking zones for these bikes around Silverstone. So this is why we're seeing, well, a big group at the front. We always see this in the British Talent Cup. These riders have been so strong all season long. These are the main riders in this title chase. It's brilliant racing so far as Brown leads again, but is he going to lead down in Stowe? I'm not quite sure he is. Yeah,
I'm with you there on that one, Elliot. I don't think he will lead as Ryan Frost just takes the lead, swoops on by from Lucas Brown and Mackay. He's come to play once more into Stowe, but Brown late on the brakes. He's absolutely brilliant. The last of the late breakers is the 29 machine, and he slots back into first just ahead of Frost, but Frost is not letting this one lie down. Back into Club Chicane, but Brown round the outside later of the late breakers, and that's Mackay round the outside of Brinton. So he's well and truly up for the fight in this one as Mackay's about to tick off another lap. That's 3 down, and we've now got 7 more to go as they power past the commentary box window here in Silverstone, and it's Scott McPhee now who takes the fastest lap of the race, the only rider into the 2-minute 20s on the previous lap. That's still 1.4 seconds slower than Johnny Garness's all-time lap record round here. There is Scott McPhee, the rider from Scotland who's about to come under pressure from, that's Mason Foster, the rookie rider, previous champion in some mini bike series in the past, rookie in the class, took a podium back in Navarra. He is now starting to pile his way through the field, but for now, Elliot, as it come down the Wellington Straight, it's still Lucas Brown that leads the way, but it looks like Frost might get it before we get to Luffield.
Yeah, McPhee on that lap was a good half second quicker than anyone else, including the race leader Lucas Brown, who is just diving up the inside of Brooklands, lost the race lead, but then dived straight back up the inside at turn 6. A beautiful move from Lucas Brown. One thing we've learnt this race and throughout the season, Liam, Lucas Brown loves to lead the race. That's where he feels most comfortable. You can see that in the braking zones, braking really late. Again, it stops at the apex and leading the race from the front. That's where he enjoys it most. But yeah, if Scott McPhee can keep that pace up, then he'll be on the back of this group in no time. He's only 1.3 off the back of Clayton Edmonds.
It looks like Mason Foster and Scott McPhee are slowly closing on this battle of about 8 riders as they keep chopping and changing. Those two are just working together and slowly chipping away at the lead of this leading group as Mackay looks like he's going for the lead. Oh, that's very close into Maggots and Beckons. He just had to set off a little bit, and Brown well and truly let off the brakes and went round the outside. However, Mackay is trying to come back immediately but this might be good for Brown, the rider that is leading the British Talent Cup Championship. It will be his final season in the class. He'll be hoping to move up to a bigger bike next year, and with his big stature, he'll be hoping that works out a little bit better. But for now, he'll be extending his championship lead over Emmanuel Brinton to 29 points. So far, so good for your championship leader.
Look at this again, down into Stowe, late on the brakes, but has no issues getting it stopped and hooked up to the apex. Runs it a little bit wide, but that's going to cost him too much. Frost does, however, get a great run out of Stowe. Is he going to lunge up the inside, the number 24? You bet he is.
Yeah, great move there from Frost. Well, actually, it wasn't a great move because Brown once more just let off that brakes and carries the corner speed round the outside of Frost. You've got to wake up a little bit earlier in the morning to get past Brown. I thought he just had a bit of a moment there, but he was just tucking right into the bubble. And on the lap time here, we'll keep an eye on the lap times from McPhee and Foster. The gap is now down to 1.9 seconds. He's only 7/10 off the back of this group. There they are, there in the background. McPhee on the number 19. Mason Foster on the number 88 yellow and white bike. They've just flashed in the background. They're already almost on the back of this group.
Yeah, again, Scott McPhee, the only rider in the 2-minute 20s in the entire field. The fastest in the lead group last time around was Emmanuel Brinton in third place. We're going to get a nice slow-mo replay, Liam, of Frost and Brown diving down into turn 16, the Vale complex towards the end of the lap. Frost hard on the anchors, but Brown even harder and a little bit later as well, just drifts it around the outside.
Just look at Frost on the clutch there, just every time changing down gears, just pulling the clutch in. It's absolute poetry in motion. I love these slow-mos, and Brown around the outside lets off the brakes once more, and Brown really is confident in the front end of his Honda here today, as he has been most of the season. And for these taller riders, it might be easier for them to slow down a little bit because there's more of a frame for them, so when they set up, there's more of a drag from the wind just holding them back. They're a bit like a parasail, so it works really well for the taller riders of Brown and Brinton. However, Frost once again is back at the front.
Yeah, exactly that. They lose out on the straights, but they can make it up in the braking zones and in cornering, especially in the braking zones. Like you say, Liam, acting more of a sail, there's naturally more of them to break into the corners a lot harder, and we've seen that all season long. Brown really strong in the braking zones. He's demonstrated that in the first 4 laps here, and expect him to do the same in the final 5.5.
Yeah, the cream is really starting to rise to the top now. The top 3 in the championship are now gapping the riders a little bit further behind. Mackay is lost maybe a few bike lengths to the top 3, but Correa, he's making a move. Has he been keeping his powder dry so far this race as he dives to the inside line? Can't make a move in Mackay, but Brown once again holding second into Stowe corner. We've seen that he gets a great run out of Stowe down the hill up towards Club Chicane, but Brinton, he's also been very incredibly well on the brakes, but not as good as Brown. So with just over 5 laps remaining, these 3 are now starting to build a bit of a gap. However, as I say that, Correa is now leading the charge to the top 3. He's past Mackay. What can Correa do? We'll keep an eye on the lap times once more, and that time round the pace has really dropped. Correa, the fastest lap of the race at 20.6.
Yeah, the pace has dropped. Fastest lap of the race at 2-minute 20.7 for Frost, a 2-minute 20.6 for Correa. They've got the hammer down now. They've maybe just been keeping their powder a little bit dry. That's a late lunge from Mackay, but not quite that time around. I think the camera angle just deceiving us there down into turn 3, but now we have a 5-wheeler back at the front. The top 3 did threaten to break clear, as you were mentioning, Liam, on the last lap. But Correa and Mackay have done really well to reel them back in on the number 40, number 61. Just having a look at the gap back from the top 5. 1.5 seconds to George Bowes across the line. So the group behind just lost touch slightly. They've got to box clever if they're going to try and reel these top 5 in. Yeah, they have to indeed, as Brinton takes the lead once again. Brown round the outside of Frost. Oh, I thought he was going for a move on Brinton there into Luffield corner, but he did slow back into second position. So for now, it is as you were, Brinton from Brown, from Frost, and then it's Correa and Mackay who's looking to equal his best result in British Talent Cup with 5th place, but he'll be hoping for a little bit more considering he's on the back of who have really been the top 4 in the championship. If you throw Filip Surowiak in there, the best 5 in the championship so far in 2024. Talking of Surowiak, he is still down in 24th position. He is just under 6 seconds off the back of Ewan Jones, number 11 in 23rd spot. So points might be difficult as Correa sweeps around the outside and over the top, around the outside and everything of Brown and Brinton. That was absolutely brilliant from the young American rider from Florida. Excited to see what this lap time is for the number 40, up into second place, crossed the line in P4. He's overtaken Brinton and Brown, the top two in the championship, and as I say, out there are the cup standings on lap 5 of 10, but expect that to change in the final 5 laps. Correa then gets a nice bit of slipstream down the straight, pulls alongside Frost, and he is now the race leader, P4 to P1 in less than a lap.
Well, absolutely brilliant that from the number 40 on the all-white machine. Correa takes the lead, but Brinton, he's not letting us one lag just yet. Later on the brakes, will it be Correa, the young American rider? Yes, it will be. So he's gone from 4th to 1st in the matter of a lap. We will see the lap times. It doesn't really matter what the lap times are, to be honest, because he's at the front, so he won't care. As long as he's at the front in about 4 laps time, that's all that matters for Correa. 3 abreast along the home straight, in towards Abbey Corner, and that's Frost actually, and Correa sweeps around the outside over the top of Emmanuel Brinton. These 5 are long and gone, and leaving the 4 behind to scrap away in the background. Will we see a move here from Correa? Yes, we will, but Frost once again, he's a little bit later in the brakes. Brown, he's been shuffled to the back of this pack. We thought he had the best pace so far, but he's not having it all his own way. Mackay, he's giving him a bit of a run for his money in 4th and 5th position.
Yeah, just been beaten up a little bit on that last lap and in the first half of this lap as Brown, but he's back up into P4. It's not going to disturb him too much. He knows he's got the pace to win this race, and he's already shown us where he's strong in overtaking, and he's proved he can go around the outside into Vale, up the inside at Stowe, and in other places as well. So he's very confident, and that gap, as we saw, that was just opened up slightly, has been bridged already using the slipstream. So this is anyone's game. The top 5 now, a good 2 seconds clear plus of Bose in 6th place. You can see the gap there. It's growing now, so it really is sort of between this top 5 you have to feel now for the race win, and it's anyone's game.
I would ask you for predictions, Elliot, but I don't think we can, because it's chopping and changing. Not every single lap, every corner, as Correa once again makes his way to the front, so trying to predict a winner from these 5 is virtually impossible.
Yeah, I'm not even going to bother making myself look silly and putting a prediction in. Let's just enjoy the last sort of 3.5 laps, nearly 3 abreast into Maggots and Beckett, and Correa still leads. This is getting tense now. 3.5 laps to go. The riders have pretty much all shown where they're strong and assessed the other competition out. Now it's all about who can put themselves in the best position heading into the final few laps and take this race victory.
I'm not usually very good at predicting much, but I think I can predict that Julian Correa into Maggots and Beckett is a step above everybody else. He just swooped around the outside of Frost as we thought Frost was about to take the lead. Utterly brilliant from Correa on the 40 as he just gets shuffled back to 4th position into Stowe Corner, and that's Brown once again. We thought at the start of the lap was struggling a little bit for some pace. However, he's just bided his time and he's back at the front, and as we see once more, Frost can't make his way up the inside into the club chicane as we're about to tick off another lap, as we see plenty of spectators in the crowd who are sticking around for a sunny Silverstone Saturday and some British Talent Cup action with 3 more laps to go, and we have 5 riders at the front, a 10-wheeler, and Frost once again using that stature to power past Lucas Brown, and Correa around the outside, but sweeping around the outside of Farm Curve. We might have a change, but here comes Correa once more, but once again Brown, latest of the late breakers, and as we've seen so many times so far in this race, Elliot is able to hold the lead because he's just the deepest of the late breakers.
Fantastic last lap from Brown. We were just mentioning that he just got a little bit beaten up in the previous lap, and then he goes and slams in his personal best race lap at 2:20.7. Not quite the fastest lap, but no one else in that lead group set a 2:20. So Brown at least 3/10 quicker than everyone else in the lead group last time around. He is still leading as well, so our point was proven right, as Surowiak at 2:20.3 sets a new best race lap. Unfortunately though, for the half Polish, half English rider, he's not going to be able to penetrate the points in this race, but it's proof that he has the pace to be with this guys.
Yeah, he does indeed. It's such a shame we lost him from the start of the race with bike troubles. However, the good thing is he has got the pace. He will be back for race number 2 early doors in the morning tomorrow, but for now we focus on this 10-wheeler at the front. Correa back into the lead. Mackay, he slots into 3rd. He's well and truly come out fighting on the yellow helmet, the number 61. He's looking for a podium position as we see Frost looking over his shoulder, sees that Brinton, one of his close championship rivals, is just behind him, and Correa, you won't be getting Correa into that corner. So you can see how much speed he carries through. The corner speed he has is mega, it's almighty, but Brown is able to stick with him on this lap. He just uses the peg frame to get himself through the corners, all elbows, all knees dragging along the ground as he looks across slightly at Julian Correa and slots into the slipstream, which is probably the perfect place for Lucas Brown to be, not at the front but in the slipstream of another rider, just to carry him down into Stowe corner, as he will make the move, as we've seen so many times. He's really confident and on the braking zone in there, and that stands him in good stead for the final lap.
Yeah, this is really good for Brown. He knows that even if he can lead into the hangar straight, potentially something that the riders didn't think they'd want to do with the potential deficit with the slipstream, Brown knows that he can get passed by a couple of riders and still leave it late on the anchors to potentially hold the race lead and cross the line in first place. So a good dress rehearsal for Brown and the other riders down the hangar straight with 2 laps to go now.
Yeah, here we go. 2 more laps to go around this 5.66 kilometre Silverstone circuit, and it's a 5 battle at the front. We will see one of these come out on top, or maybe none of them, to be honest, with Brenton in a late lunge up the inside as we see the scrap further back, and that's Surowiak there on the number 75. He's in 19th spot, so he's coming through the field brilliantly. He's just chopped in front of Josh Bannister there on the number 2. So Surowiak, he's up to 16th spot now, and I feel like he might be able to just get a point from this one, Elliot. So he's coming through him like a knife through butter on the brakes into the loop.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. We were wrong about Surowiak not being able to penetrate the points. If he can get to the front of that group, he'll be in P14, so a couple of points salvaged from this race will be absolutely fantastic stuff from Surowiak. Of course, disappointment what happened at the start, but to get your head down, set the fast lap of the race and get back into the points, a job well done so far from Surowiak, but back at the front. Yeah,
a big shame for Surowiak there, because he does have the pace, but you might have to feel that maybe championship chances might be coming ever slimmer, and probably too slim to fight for the rest of the season. But with a lap and a half to go, Correa chops around the outside of Brenton. Brenton was just taking stock a lap ago of the pack. He was off the back of it. He's now into second. He is the nearest challenger to your race leader, and he's going for a move into Magnus and Beckett, but he can't do it there. Brown, he has to check up a little bit so he doesn't clip the back of Emmanuel Brenton. And Frost, who was at the front for most of this race, he's now been shuffled all the way back to the back of this leading group of 5. But as we've seen so many times, we're powering down the back straight once more, and it's Correa leads on the white bike, and the multicoloured helmet looks absolutely fantastic. Brenton, he pulls to the other side of the hangar straight. He's on the right of your screen, Correa on the left, and it will be Brown who chops to the inside once more, and that was absolutely brilliant. As brave as you like from Brown, and Correa, he's trying to hold on around the outside, but don't think that's going to work there, Julian. You might have to just settle for second, or maybe even third, because here comes Brenton, but Brown again late on the brakes. We will just have one more lap to go as they complete the left and the right, and before we get on to the home finish straight, it is Brown from Brenton, Correa, Mackay and Frost. Any one of these 5 can take victory in the British Talent Cup, race number 1 here from Silverstone, and Brenton once again takes the lead, but Mackay, he's just been shuffled background as Correa once more sweeps around the outside, carries all that corner speed into Farm Curve, and then we go into Village, and it's Brown once again, but here comes Mackay. Brenton, he's been sat up ever so slightly by Brown. These 5 will be your fighting out for your win and the podium, but for now it's chopping and changing. It's absolutely brilliant, Elliot, and we've still got a lap to go.
Yeah, great move from Brenton down into the loop, turn 4. Does he get the run onto the Wellington straight that he would have wanted? Potentially not, but he is leading down halfway the straight. Brown also in the slipstream, and we know how good he is on the brakes, Brown. So into Brooklands we go, turn 6 here. Brown hanging it around the outside. Ryan Frost up on the inside, takes a look over at Brown. Brown hanging it around the outside. That means he's going to have the inside for Lovefield, but not quite. Brenton holds on to it.
Oh, amazing stuff from these 5. You cannot predict Julian Correa. He was leading only a lap ago, and he's now at the back of this pack on the number 40, but he can still win it. Don't count out the young American rider at the back of this pack. Don't count out Mackay, because he's now pulling out. It's 4 abreast into Cobb's corner. Who's going to come out on top? It's Frost once more on the number 24. Brownie slots around the outside, but up the inside going towards Maggots and Beckett, and it's Julian Correa on the back of the pack. He's got the best run. We know how good he is. Oh, elbow to elbow from Brown and Mackay. Brenton, but Correa wants some more. He goes from 5th to 1st.
What a move from Correa. He now leads into Maggots and Beckett's, but this is the crucial part of the last lap. Down the hangar straight, it's all about getting hooked up on the right-hand side through Chapel and get a slingshot onto the hangar straight. Brown in second, Correa in first. He's going to want to dodge the slipstream if he can. Brenton pulling out the slipstream as well. It's all going to come down to Stowe corner.
Oh, here we go. 5 on the race to win, and we've got 4 or 5 abreast coming down towards Stowe, but look out for the number 29. He's the latest of the late breakers into Stowe, but Frost, he's carried the speed round the outside. He's done it. He's going to hold on maybe, but Brown is the one, the big threat in second spot. We know how good he is on the brakes. Correa looking for the inside on the 40, backs it in ever so slightly. Mackay, he's at the back of this. 2 more corners to go for Frost on the 24. Bit of a bubble there, comes through the final corner, powers across the line. It's going to be Frost for his 3rd race win of the season at the British Grand Prix. Holds off your championship leader Brown. Correa with a brilliant 3rd ahead of Brenton. He loses out, and Harrison Mackay, he equals his best British Talent Cup result with another P5. Great racer, Elliot. I can hardly catch my breath.
Oh, what a motorcycle race, just as we come to expect in the British Talent Cup. Comes down to the very last lap, the very last corner. Surowiak, the number 75, crosses line in P13. A fantastic salvage job from Surowiak, on the City lifting Honda. Salvages points, P13, a good job, but he'll be wanting much more in race 2 tomorrow morning. He'll be wanting to be involved in that group, that fight at the front. What a race, Liam. 0.4 seconds, less than half a second covering the top 5 over the line, and it is the number 24, Frost, who won out in the end. He had a quiet sort of latter end to the race, but made it count on the final lap. Put himself in the best position possible, coming down the hanger straight and into Stoke Corner, held it into Vale and held it to the line. A fantastic victory for the number 24.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant stuff. That's his 2nd race win in 3 races. Here we go again. This is the run down the hanger straight into Stoke Corner once more. 5 abreast, almost contact between Frost and Brenton. That made Brenton on the 43 check up a little bit, but I was surprised by Brown. We have seen him latest of the late breakers, but Frost was just able to carry that speed around the outside, and that set him perfectly up into the club chicane, and it gave Brown absolutely no opportunity whatsoever to retaliate on Frost. And as across the line now, you can see the emotion, and that was a big win for Ryan Frost on the number 24, his 3rd race win of the season, and he timed it to perfection.
Yeah, the run he got down the hanger straight and into Stoke Corner was absolutely phenomenal. Picked up at least a 2-bike slipstream, did Ryan Frost, and parked it where everyone else wanted to put their bikes. Brown, as you rightly say, couldn't quite get it hooked up on the inside and around the outside, tried his best, and then Frost knew coming into the Vale section that if he parked his bike where he needed to do so, it was going to be difficult for anyone to pass him. So yeah, expertly done in the final sector from Ryan Frost, but just a brilliant race all round. The top 5 all having an absolutely superb race. Brinton, of course, from pole position will be disappointed not to finish on the podium. Mackay will also be disappointed to not finish on the podium. Just 4/10 away from victory and you're not standing on the podium. Fortunately, that's just the reality of the British Talent Cup. It's pretty brutal out there sometimes, but fantastic race from the top 5.
Yeah, you have to really feel for Mackay there. My apologies, I'll get there eventually. Almost a slip of the tongue again, but Mackay, he was so close to his 1st ever British Talent Cup podium, but he'll take confidence into tomorrow that he can run with the absolute best here in the British Talent Cup, and the best today is Ryan Frost, his 3rd win of the season. He now closes in on the championship leader Lucas Brown, but Brown in 2nd on the number 29. He'll take a lot of solace from the fact he's extended his championship lead over his closest championship rival Emmanuel Brinton, who finished down in 4th.
Yeah, exactly that. Job done for Lucas Brown, really, in terms of the championship chase. He's put himself in a position where that's all he needs to do. Just needs to hold off Emmanuel Brinton. He's obviously got to keep an eye on Ryan Frost, of course. If he keeps on winning races, Ryan Frost is going to catch Lucas Brown in the championship. But coming into it, he had a nice 51-point buffer over Frost, which is obviously dropped down to 46 ahead of race 2 tomorrow morning. But yeah, Lucas Brown, I mean, fantastic race. Couldn't do much more than he did. Superb on the brakes, and he's continuing to charge his way towards potentially picking up the crown at the end of the year, but plenty of racing left to go in that one, and great to see them all shaking hands and looking pleased in Parc Fermé. A fantastic race here at the British Grand Prix.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And Julian Correa, big shout out to Julian Correa. That is his 1st podium since Snetterton, and obviously with the loss of John Cresswell a couple of months ago, that team, the Mucurlis Cresswell team, they unfortunately pulled the plug on the outfit. That left a few of the riders seeking rides elsewhere. Julian Correa was one of them. He joined the Wilson Racing squad for a couple of rounds, but he then set up his own little team with some of his ex-Cresswell mechanics, and they will be absolutely over the moon with that 3rd place.
Yeah, top stuff from Correa. Obviously really sad about what's happened this year with Cresswell Racing and John Cresswell passing away. We send our condolences, of course, to the family and friends. But yeah, Correa won podium in the last 5, and he's back on the podium. So a much-needed podium for Correa in terms of confidence and bagging more points in the championship chase. He's obviously an outside bet now for picking up the crown at the end of the year. But yeah, top stuff from Correa to come back onto the podium. And you just pointed out, Liam, we can see Michael Leverty down there in pit lane, of course. One of his riders, Ryan Frost, is the race winner. So great to see Michael Leverty down there celebrating in Pot Fermi. A great ship that Michael sails for the British Talent Team riders, British Talent Cup riders, MLAV Racing, of course, all the way up to Moto3. So yeah, great to see Michael here, of course, at the British Grand Prix and down in Parc Ferme. Yeah,
Michael Leverty being on commentary duties for our colleagues over at TNT Sports today, because I was chatting to one of their, well, esteemed colleagues, Jeff, in hospitality, and he was saying that unfortunately poor Neil Hodgson has lost his voice today. So Michael Leverty's doing a lot of work running up and down from his team in Moto3 and of course in the British Talent Cup to check out how his riders are doing. And thankfully today one of them has just gone out and shown the rest how it is done. But Julian Correa, we just saw, he was so incredible in the fast corners, just swooping around the outside of many riders. And at one point I thought he was going to take the lead, especially with that move into Maggots and Beckett's.
Yeah, he was superb into Maggots and Beckett's, wasn't he? That's a real crucial stage of, well, of course in the race, in the last stage of the race, but on this Silverstone circuit, nailing Maggots and Beckett's and getting a good run out of Chapel down the hanger straight, as we mentioned in the race, is absolutely vital, especially on these Honda machines when the slipstream is so important. So yeah, Correa will be aiming to build on that, of course, in race 2.
So this is how it all played out over 10 laps here at Silverstone. It was Ryan Frost that took victory here, just a 1/10 of a second ahead of championship leader Lucas Brown, with Julian Correa back to the podium in 3rd, just missing out. He'll be needing big points tomorrow. Tomorrow was Emmanuel Brinton in 4th. Harrison Mackay, he just missed out on a podium in 5th, only 4/10 off the win. Mason Foster, a great result for the young rookie. And if Scott McPhee takes one of his best results in British Talent Cup out of George Bose, and Clayton Edmonds rounding out the top 10. He did set the fastest lap of the race during the race at one point. It was Ronnie Harris out of Kyle Payne. He continues to acclimatise himself to the championship ahead of Harley McCabe. Filip Surowiak, he charged his way through from pit lane to 13th ahead of Joshua Raymond Jr. and Jack Burrows rounding out your points paying positions. Further back we have Dan Goodman, Ben Jolliffe, Bill Harris, brother to Ronnie, Peter Wells on the number 99, Eli Banish just missing out in the top 20, Ewan Jones, Samuel Munson and Isaiah Devine in 25th position. And unfortunately we had a DNFer. It was Alexander Rowan. He just missed out on a finishing position 4 laps down at the end of the race. So we now have the podium proceedings here at the Wing, and one of the most iconic podiums you will get to stand on in British Talent Cup, and of course probably anywhere in the world, Elliot, because it is a very iconic podium now and it graces many world championships.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than standing on the Silverstone podium at the British Grand Prix, especially for these riders as well. Hopefully they'll be tasting many more successes here at Silverstone and throughout other circuits in their careers as they head on the path in the road to MotoGP. Ryan Frost, Lucas Brown and Julian Correa as we wait for the podium, and then get ourselves ready, Liam, for race 2 tomorrow morning, bright and early here at Silverstone. The first race of the day, but it is the perfect warm-up act, isn't it? The British Talent Cup, to get ourselves ready for British GP Sunday. Hopefully the weather stays as it is now, because it is beautiful out here in Silverstone.
Yeah, we can see a few of the fans have stuck around, and there's a brand new hotel right across from our commentary box with a lot of people staying in the hotel rooms on their balconies, enjoying the sunshine and enjoying what was a superb Silverstone Saturday, and of course topped off with the cherry on top, the British Talent Cup right at the end, as we see the team personnel of the FiberTech Honda MLAV Racing Squad onto the podium. He'll be picking up the team's trophy for that one, and very well done. Another trophy for the cabinet for the MLAV squad. They're starting to pick them up all around the championships and every single thing they compete in now, so a great outfit that Michael Leverty does run.
Yeah, hopefully we can see Scott Ogden on the British GP podium tomorrow in same coloured clothing, but we'll wait and see if Scott can manage to do that. Of course, a former BTC champion, Scott Ogden, doing his trade in Moto3, as I'm sure every one of you watching and listening will know. Correa, Lucas Brown, and then finally Ryan Frost standing on the podium here at Silverstone.
So presenting the awards is, well, Scott Ogden. Can you believe it? You just mentioned him there, so holding that trophy in his hands might give him a little impetus to, of course, stand on the podium here tomorrow. So he hands over the winning team's trophy and third place trophy to Julian Correa. Gives it a big kiss and a great result there. He'll be obviously dedicating this podium to John Cresswell, who we lost, unfortunately, a couple of months ago. Scott Ogden continues to hand out the trophies, and to second place, your championship leader, who does open up his championship over Emmanuel Brinton, but Ryan Frost, he's closing in. Your race winner, his third win of the season, Ryan Frost, holds it atop. Big smiles for the youngster, and he'll be hoping for another victory tomorrow.
Chance for some photographs if we can, guys, if we move together a little.
Yeah, top stuff from Frost then. 2 victories in the last 3 now for Frost, as we now do get set for the national anthem of the United Kingdom.
The British national anthem reigns supreme here in Silverstone, and the magnificent mullet of Rapid Ryan is number 1 here today on Super Silverstone Saturday at the British Grand Prix. The top 3 will pose for some more photos, as well as Scott Ogden, who was on the grid with them on Thursday, posing for a photo, a team photo on the grid, as we will prepare for, well, what was a magnificent race in race number 1. It was Emmanuel Brinton from pole position, but he got a sluggish start, and Ryan Frost, your race 1 winner, did shoot away from pole position. And for that, he did hold the lead until the end of the opening lap, with Emmanuel Brinton on the 43 challenging initially, but it was your championship leader, 29 of Lucas Brown, that did take the lead, as we saw many times in the race. He was last of the late breakers into Stowe, but when it really mattered, it was Ryan Frost. The top 5 did try and break away, but we did have some challengers from Clayton Edmonds and Harrison Mackay, with Scott McPhee and Mason Foster trying to challenge for the podium positions late on. But into the final lap, it was 5 abreast, with Frost, latest of the late breakers, around the outside into Stowe corner. We thought he might come under a bit of a challenge into club from Lucas Brown, but it was Frost that held on from the championship leader to take his 3rd victory of the season and his first here at Silverstone Grand Prix. We expect more great racing action from the British Talent Cup. Can Rapid Ryan Frost complete the double here in Silverstone? Join us once again at 8:45 in the morning for race number 2.